she whispered, her soul away in shadows where time refused to touch her, until it twisted her into something unrecognizable. Late autumn's icy breath seeped relentlessly through the fractured panes of the weary ballet theater. Tendrils of fog slithered like pale fingers over peeling posters, distorting faces once radiant with life, now mourning lost years in silent grief. The air tasted of rot and forgotten applause, sour musk of rosin mingling with the faint, spectral residue of expired perfume veiling the shadows like a ghostly veil. Behind the sagging velvet curtains, cracked mirrors sagged under the weight of shattered dreams, their fractured surfaces reflecting fractured hopes that trembled and splintered with every flicker of the failing candlelight. Clara stood amidst this suffocating stillness, her slight frame taut yet brittle, muscles aching under time's relentless siege. Her pale reflection stared back with merciless honesty, a fractured echo lined with exhaustion and silent fury. Time gnawed mercilessly, each wrinkle a serrated tooth sinking deeper into pride, yet beneath this ruin, an ember of ambition glowed, fierce, unbroken, a flare desperate enough to clutch at shadows and barter with the darkness itself. From the shadows emerged a figure, formless and impossible to define as either man or woman, cloaked in a hollow blackness that swallowed warmth and light alike. Eyes, twin shards of unnatural ice, bore into Clara with unsparing cold. "Your talent will never dim," it whispered, voice a silken blade slicing through bone and marrow alike. "But youth will be mine to claim." Bit by bit, breath by breath, her throat tightened, a shudder crawling beneath skin as cold dread curled like smoke within her ribs. "And what do you want from me?" Her voice cracked, a brittle thread lost among the creaking floorboards. "Trust," it breathed, each syllable a velvet shackle tightening, a covenant inked not with quill but your very essence. You will dance, flawless, unyielding, endless. But beware. The price is paid not in years, but shadows unseen, devouring your very core in silence. A sob caught in her chest as hesitation froze her trembling fingers. Then, gripped by a hunger no mortal should bear, Clara pressed the tip of her trembling finger to her palm. Warm blood welled, vivid crimson staining the cracked, yellowed parchment. The shade unfurled like a raven's wing. With a hand trembling enough to betray her resolve, she signed her name. The theater seemed to exhale, a suffocating breath sinking deep into her bones, as if the building itself inhaled her soul, binding her to its crumbling heart. Days blurred. The mirror's gaze ceased to betray the merciless passage of time. Her skin stretched smooth, radiant under cold, unforgiving lights. Movements sharpened into hypnotic grace, energy thrumming through her veins like wildfire. Years of ache vanished in a relentless blaze. Yet beneath this vitality, a sinister whisper wound through her thoughts like tendrils of smoke curling around a dying flame. Voices echoed from cracked mirrors, weaving enchantments of seduction and demand, their promises cold and eternal. Unseen footsteps echoed beyond closed doors. A tendril of smoke, pungent and intangible, entwined with the fabric of musty velvet backstage. The scent of something burning, yet unseen, a slow, suffocating decay. Music swelled from shadowed corners after rehearsals, fragmented melodies clawing at the edges of sanity. Once, during a fleeting glance, Clara's reflection smiled, but it was a cruel mimicry, twisting innocence into an icy snarl that birthed the tide of panic deep within her. "No one else sees this," she whispered, eyes wide with terror while aging posters quivered softly, their figures flickering like trapped phantoms imprisoned in paper. Fellow dancers murmured unease, her eerie stillness in pauses, the way her gaze lingered too long in the theater's darkest corners, a dread rot creeping beneath velvet skirts, unseen yet spreading. One evening, a jagged fracture spread silently across the mirror. No strike, no sound, just a web of splinters tracing every contour of her form. The blessing unveiled its venom, flawless skin shadowed by creeping darkness, a second living skin cold and unyielding, clinging tighter than flesh. On stage, she mesmerized. Backstage, unseen monsters coiled just beyond the periphery, their eyes glistening with ancient, malevolent hunger. The theater closed in like a tomb. One damp evening, Lena, her dearest friend, confronted her, voice trembling under the weight of unspoken horrors. "You're not the dancer I knew. People, they fear you now. Look at your hands, ashen, cold like brittle bone." Clara's fists clenched, brittle fire flashing in brittle defiance. "I'm fine. No, I'm more. I've fought too long to surrender now." But beneath every spotlight, darkness coiled tighter, a serpent writhing in velvet folds. Her body bore no scars, yet her soul teetered between blinding radiance and creeping decay. poised on a knife's edge where ambition bled into nightmare. Trust was a shattered mirror, the chance reflecting a terrifying truth she could neither deny nor escape. On a fog-soaked night, as the final curtain draped the theater in suffocating silence, and the last echoes of applause faded like dying embers, Clara lingered backstage alone. The fractured mirror betrayed not a mere reflection, but shifting shadows that stretched and weaved until mingled with her own trembling silhouette. "Your time is eternal," the voice whispered, tender cruelty dripping from each word, "but so is the price." Her eyes glazed, hollow pools reflecting abyssal light, as she spun in a languid pirouette where desperation wove through decay, where desire spilled into surreal nightmare. She moved like a ghost caught in a never-ending dance, each step a stitch sewing her soul tighter into the theater's dark tapestry. As her figure dissolved into motion, the theater inhaled fully, swallowing her whole, silent and breathless, leaving only the faintest trace, the lingering scent of smoldering smoke and old perfume, as wisps of fog curled through shattered glass. Outside, the night waited, patient, unyielding, as yet another soul bartered not years but the very essence of humanity, locked forever in the final pirouette. What would you sacrifice to dance forever in the shadows? Share your darkest desires below, and subscribe for tales that haunt the edges of your dreams.